Thank you, Sanjeev, for being here. Can we get a louder applause, please, for Sanjeev, for embodying the spirit of Navratri today? I think you've gotten so many compliments, and it's lovely. Please take a seat. A very warm welcome to Reforms Reloaded. What a day to be talking to you. It's the start of the Savings Festival, as the Prime Minister called it. It's the first day of Navratri. And this morning, I was on an e-commerce platform, a quick commerce platform, and I was trying to buy something, but the prices have not gone down yet, Mr. Sanyal. So, and we had, some companies talking about why it'll be difficult for them to pass on the rate cuts because it's just the price points are tricky. They'd rather increase the product size. I just want to get your thoughts in on this.
Now, never confuse capitalism with the private interests of capitalists. Of course, nobody wants to reduce their prices. However, let me say that the government has been very, very clear that we don't want to introduce another anti-profiteering type of thing because in the end, creating another Inspector Raj in that sense is not helpful. So it would be good if prices were passed through. Some may prefer to pass it through larger quantity. Obviously, depends on the particular product. I mean, I can't see how you can pass on 25% or 18% more television, but anyway, it may be possible in some products. I don't know. But let me say that there should be public pressure on the manufacturing and producers and companies to pass this through because it is a windfall, but the windfall is not meant for them, it is meant for consumers.
Absolutely. In fact, yesterday the Prime Minister also said that the citizen is God, and you're saying that the public needs to speak up and, put public pressure. However, having said that, it's easier said than done, and we've had an anti-profiteering agency in the past that's not really worked, and you've categorically come out and said that there should be no Inspector Raj. Is there a thought process in the government on how do we ensure that the rate cuts are passed on? Because, that is the question that I think everyone in the audience has here at the moment.
Look, I think business needs to understand that they are as much citizens as anyone else. So as a country, we do expect good behavior. Now, some of this has to come from social pressure. As I said, giving additional powers to the bureaucracy it has its own connotations. Therefore, that is not something that I'm very keen on pushing for. So this is something that hopefully will, over time, I'm not saying it may need to happen immediately, but over the next few months, it would be important to see this pass through. And maybe it will. I mean, that's why you need competitive markets. Some people will pass it through, their prices will fall, and presumably they will, therefore, their market share will go up and so on. So to some extent, the market may force it through anyway.
All right. In terms of a consumption push, there are various estimates, that have been doing the rounds. How soon do you expect the consumption to pick up, and what are the estimates that you are working with?
So first of all, it's impossible to put a number to this. So there are some people trying to put number to this, but let me tell you as a person who trained economist, it is not possible to draw those demand and supply graphs. So, because it's not just at one point, right? It's across the entire supply chain that you have reduced prices. So it's impossible to try and guess how much that will be. So I would say that it would be significant. But let me say one more thing. I think thinking of the benefit from just this one-time, demand boost during Navratra, whatever you think, is in fact the wrong way to think about it in the first place. You have to understand that the real benefit from this is to make the economic machinery more efficient. So what happened is, and so I need to step back a little bit, is to go back to how we implemented GST in the first place. We implemented GST, and I've said this to you before as well. We basically wanted to shift the whole complicated morass of excise, sales, and all kinds of octroi and other taxes onto a unified system. So that was the focus. What we didn't do at that time was to look at the slabs and the actual rates from a first principles basis. All we did is we slid the rates to the nearest slab that we could find, just because at that time we didn't want too many changes. So look, we are changing the system, so at least let the rates go to the nearest one that you can find. The result was that things like, for example, cement ended up being a 28% slab. Why? Because it just happened to be something that was heavily taxed in the old system. Then, of course, it took 2 years to stabilize that system. We then got hit by COVID, another 2.5 years. And then we didn't want to disturb the system while we got the recovery. So it's only in 24 that we came to the conclusion that, look, it's all happened now. We now need to move to first principles and think through why any slab is where it is. So that is the context that we are trying to do here, is now we have a much more logically consistent system where when you know the name of the item, you can more or less with a reasonable amount of certainty say that which slab it should be, because it's a logical one. All the inverted duties and all kinds of things have now got eased up. And now you don't have to get into these debates about is the popcorn salted or is it caramel.
Right.